All right, cool. So, welcome back to Africans Talk Football TV. Here with Gabriel and Salam. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good man, feeling really good. How about you guys?
Good, good. This is one of those episodes where it's always good to come see you just because everybody won this past weekend. So, everybody's in higher spirits. There's not much, you know, on the negative side that we have as far as when we're critiquing our teams. And as well, we had a lot of other things going on as far as AFCON. We had Champions League coming back, so this has been a week where there's been a lot going on. So it's cool. We're kind of right back into the swing of things. There's kind of that little lull after the beginning of the year, but then Europe starting right back up. We're also doing FA Cup, Carabao. So this has been a big January, big February. Happy Black History Month, as we're still in February here in the US. But before we get into the teams, just want to say thank you again to all of our friends, all of our fans, all of our supporters out there who have been rocking with us from the jump. Or if this is, your first time checking in with us, we are, currently going live on YouTube, and it's been fun to do that for the last few weeks and just have people check in with us on YouTube too. So it's been cool to have those different avenues. Mainly, we talk about the Premier League, but as it being Africans Talk Football, we've been covering the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations tournament. It's been held in Ivory Coast this year, which is honestly one of the finalists this year as well. Ivory Coast versus Nigeria. That was the final this year in Ivory Coast. And then shout out also to South Africa, who won the third place match against the Democratic Republic of Congo. They won against Congo, so they played the third place match. Those were the two semifinalists that did not end up making it to the finals match. And so shout out to South Africa. They low key have been not as big on the world football scene. Ever since they had the World Cup, I feel like their team did pretty well then to get to the round of 16, but since kind of has been quiet. So it was cool to see them actually get to the semis, and then for them to win the third place match is honestly good for the country as well. You just love to see it. But to get to the meat and potatoes, Ivory Coast versus Nigeria, 2-1 banger. I was fortunate to be able to see the end of the match. I know I wasn't able to see the whole thing, but uh I don't know. I think it could be recency bias, but we've been saying it all year. This has been a great tournament from top to bottom, from the closeness in the matches to the goals to the actual play to the
To the
skill, honestly,
vibes.
to
To
the
the
vibes,
vibes.
to the skill, everything that happened in this tournament was just enjoyable to watch. It was pure
Right.
entertainment, and I was able to watch a few of the matches with our friend Yasser, who just came back. And the biggest issue I had with AFCON this year is that it was so hard to watch games. It wasn't readily available to stream in like the streaming days nowadays. Like you really had to go out of your way to try to find ways to watch it, especially now not having BN Sports being, part of most of these streaming packages here in the US. It's tough to watch these games. But if you were fortunate enough to watch a game, to get a stream, catch it somewhere, I mean, these games were going from top to bottom, the group stages all the way to the knockout stages. I mean, games had multiple red cards and multiple goals in the last 10 minutes. Sometimes it was one of those type tournaments where you didn't really know who was going to win until the game was over. So, um, 2-1. I don't know if you guys were able to watch it and then talk about the actual tactics of the game, but yeah, Trini, that's a great point. We were joking about it earlier. Like you never hear about loaning a manager in the
Yeah.
middle of a tournament. They
Right.
literally fired their manager and then went on loan, got somebody else, and won the whole thing. Host nation. I mean, there's always some. It's always drama with Africans. I mean, there's always something. But this year,
Right.
the play was able to match up with the drama, and I feel like that just raised the whole level of the competition, but also it raised the awareness. Like people, I feel like were tapped in as well, just because the level of play was so high. And now with social media, it's so easy to catch a goal from anywhere. Just see a quick clip, a quick 30-second clip of a banger goal or maybe a back to back. And now now you're intrigued. Now you want to see more games. And I feel like, for the next African Cup of Nations, they should figure out a way for it to be more more readily available for people to watch. This is one of those tournaments, just like Copa America, just like the Euros. People want to watch this. There's a whole nation, there's a whole continent dedicated to getting their players off. This is where they can showcase their talent. This is where they can showcase the host countries, show what the nation has to offer as well. Just not on the football side. Like, this is big for tourism. This is big for the country and the continent. So for the tournament not to be watched and easily watched everywhere on different nations, different across the world, people were having the issue with just not being able to watch these games. I feel like that was the biggest issue, but I don't want to talk too much about that, just because the game was 2-1, went to Ivory Coast. Gabriel Salam, did you have anything to say about the match?
Shout out Sebastian Haller, man. That's what I gotta say, man. After the past couple of years he's had to help his team get to the final in his host nation and then to score the winning goal. I mean, that's what, I don't know. That's what the sport's for, man. Beautiful moments like that, after his, him having cancer and all of that, coming back to the game and doing all that, man, super, super dope. So, and shout out Holler. But I thought it was a great match, man. I think, Nigeria got a little bit comfortable after they went up 1-0. They feel like I don't know. I kind of feel like they thought they had it in a bag and that they would, go on to win the match and it would be a little bit more comfortable than they thought. But I mean, when you're playing the host nation, unfortunately, they have home field advantage and they have a 12th man. And once that first goal went in, it was almost inevitable for the second one to go in for them. So, yeah, it was a great match, great way to wrap up the tournament, especially in kind of a dramatic fashion like that. Coming down from 1-0, winning 2-1, and then it's cool that they get to win it at home. It would have been a madness if they lost. Their fans would have been pissed, but Africans, man. But yeah, man, it was an amazing tournament. I wish AFCON was every year, because I think just from like Ernest was saying, from just the competition level, just everything, and then on top of it, just like the memes and the vibes and like the laughter of it through it all. You know what I mean? Like, AFCON's like a funny tournament in a sense. It's not to be taken as a joke, but like Africans are just naturally funny. Like,
they just like to have fun, man.
Yeah, we like to have fun. Like, we like partying, and every time something goes on, everything's over dramatic. Everything has a big reaction to it. So like, for example, when the coach lost, I forgot what coach it was, but they're pouring water on the back of his neck. Like, yo, man does not need water on the back of his neck after an L. Like, but they deem that fit just to happen at that moment. It's just like,
it's hot. I get it.
It's like, coach, you too hot. You too hot. Calm down. Calm down.
No. I mean, yeah.
So I love Africans, man. I love AFCON. Our good friend Poppy said, shout out Poppy, man. I truly think it's the second best tournament behind the World Cup, in terms of everything. I mean, the Euros ain't this funny. I'm sorry, but the Euros don't have me vibing like this. You feel me? Like, from the music to the fashion of all the fans and the cultures, all the different African cultures coming out. That's the thing, African cultures are so different. Like, from the clothes that we wear to, the food that we eat, the music, so many of those things are so different. So to see all of that, really displayed on a national level, man, it's always really dope to see. And to see, the competition levels continue to rise and rise and rise every tournament. I mean, it's only getting better. Players now who are playing in Europe are more and more now going back to, play for their I won't. I guess I can say home country. I mean, I guess you can say home country, but to go play for, if they might have, you can play for England or play for Italy or Germany, but also can play for Senegal or Ghana or Nigeria. You can see a lot of those players going back and playing for their parents' host home country. You know what I mean? It just means that the competition is only going to get better and better and better. So, yeah, man, I love the tournament, love the final. Great way to wrap it up. And yeah, man, that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys kind of said everything. It was entertaining for sure. Um, Shout out Nigeria and Ivory Coast. And I mean, there's a lot of players from this tournament that I feel like are worth a look on big teams, throughout Europe or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of good players there, a lot of good goals scored, a lot of good games played. So, yeah, I think it is, to Poppy's point. It is about like second best international tournament behind the World Cup. And yeah, shout out to the people of Ivory Coast.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, man, it's been a great tournament, and I feel like the one thing we talked about was kind of just like the parity across all the teams. How you just never really knew who was going to win. You know what I mean? Is Euros got no season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. Down South America, they got the Jogo Bonito. Down in Africa, we got seasoning. We got seasoning. But yeah, just this year, Ivory Coast, the 2023 winner, 2021 Senegal, 2019 Algeria, 2017 Cameroon, 2015 Ivory Coast again, and then Nigeria, Zambia, and then Egypt. So it goes to show AFCON every year. It's one of those tournaments where there are runners up. There are teams that have the upper hand, but it's never a team that you can for sure say from the jump is going to win. And just like Gabriel said, the home team always has that 12th man.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And Ivory Coast was able to use that to their advantage this year. And, again, just to reiterate and close out AFCON, shout out to Sebastian Haller. I believe just 18 months ago, diagnosed with cancer. He was able to, right when he was on top of the world, right when he just got his big money move to Borussia Dortmund as a striker, was, going to be their main guy, gets diagnosed with cancer, beats it, and comes back now to 18 months later, win it at his home country. And it's just, it's just one of those storybook endings that you love to see. And it's just like Gabriel said, it's a perfect way to wrap up the tournament. So yeah, AFCON this year, AFCON 2023, 24, absolutely crazy this year. I feel like this has been one of the best AFCONs I've seen, especially in recent years. And I can't wait to see what what comes in the future, man. It can only go up from here, just like you boys said. But switch gears a little bit to now club football. We had Champions League come back, baby. Today we saw two teams in the the round of the quarterfinals.
Round of 16.
Round of 16, yeah. There's 8 teams that play this week. Yeah, round of 16. We saw probably the most. It's probably the matchup that we can probably decipher what's going to happen the easiest. Manchester City versus Copenhagen. We probably know what's going to go there. 3-1 win to City today. De Bruyne right back in action, back in Champions League play, right back where he left off. Y'all got anything to say about City Copenhagen?
I thought it was a professional win on their part. I think you go there away from home, you get the result. You get a little bit of a goal cushion going into the second leg at home. I think that they're set up. Manchester City is looking better and better. They're getting De Bruyne back. They're getting Haaland back. De Bruyne is on an incredible run of form right now. So hopefully, that can come to an end soon because we play them. But yeah, he looks good, and I said that last week. Like he's not even close to, whatever 100% looks like for him. And Haaland, I don't think Haaland didn't even score today, and they still scored 3. So He hasn't really found his scoring boot yet, but when he does, I think that they're going to be a better team, and I think that the winner of the Champions League is just going to be from the two teams that we saw today, the two winners. It's either for me, it's going to be between Real Madrid and Man City, but we'll see how it shakes out.
I really don't have much to say about them. We know what's gonna happen with this cup draw. Like we mad love to Copenhagen. No beef with any of y'all, but we really know what's going on, man. Good effort. You got the first goal. I think they got they tied it up.
Yeah,
but it's City, man. We'll see City in the semis or quarters or something. So yeah, nothing much to say about that match, honestly. My big takeaway was Phil Foden came off injured at the end. So
did he?
I don't know how that's gonna impact the team. I don't know how serious it is or anything like that.
Y'all play him soon, right, Cornelius? Is that?
Isn't that
this weekend?
Chelsea,
that's this weekend, right?
Yeah, they're coming up. Chelsea just has to not embarrass ourselves. It doesn't matter if Phil Foden plays or if he doesn't play. That's our game plan for that match. We'll talk about that later, though. We're currently talking Champions League, but yeah, 3-1 to City. Kudos to them, and then kudos to Copenhagen. For them even getting out of the group stages. Manchester United was in their group, I believe. So for them to have gotten and beaten those giants in Europe, it's kudos to them, and to get a goal at home it gives the fans something to root for, and then now looking forward to next year as well. Second game in today's slate was Real Madrid versus RB Leipzig. Leipzig was home, but unfortunately 1-0 loss to Madrid. Goal by Brahim Diaz, right at the start of the second half. And then they kind of just were able to hold that 1-0 lead through the match there. Any takeaways from this game?
Leipzig scored, right? Oh, go ahead, Song. Go ahead.
No, you go first. I think I insist you go first.
I don't know. Leipzig scored. It was one of those, it
was disallowed.
It was disallowed. Keeper, they interfered with the keeper type, disallowed goals.
Interesting.
Definitely a little fishy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it should have been called back early. I think it should have been given as a goal. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? VAR's been VAR. So yeah. But outside of that, I wasn't able to tap into that match as much as City and stuff like that. But yeah, Madrid 1-0 win away. Good for them. But I think that second leg is going to be a massive game because Leipzig, they think they should have come out that match even going into Madrid, and they're down a goal, so they're gonna have to fight to try to stay in the Champions League. And I think it's gonna be just an end-to-end match because Leipzig needs a goal, and if Leipzig needs a goal and they score a goal, that means Madrid's gonna need a goal too. So I think this game's gonna be exciting next week. But yeah, it was, or not next week, but some time from now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from the game was that Real Madrid's a very good team. I agree with you, Gabriel, that the goal that was disallowed was very questionable. I thought it was clear and onside, but it is what it is there. Real Madrid had their team is always loaded with talent. They had a lot of players out today that I thought would have slowed them down a little bit. But to be honest with you, and this was going to be my question to you, when you guys think about who the best player in the world is, who do you think that is? Because for me, I feel like it's Vinicius. When he gets the ball, there's just, I don't know. It's only a feeling of only a few have given me pause. It's
Yeah,
like that.
crazy
It's
work.
that Neymar. It's that Neymar, Ronaldinho. It's like you don't know, man. Like what's gonna happen? You just know
And bro,
something's gonna happen.
It's
and I
electric.
and 2 years ago on this same podcast, maybe a year ago now, Mike, who is unfortunately not here today to answer for his crime, said he doesn't think Vinny has another gear at the
No,
age of 22, I believe, at the time. The
yeah,
kid's 23, 24 years old. I mean, he's definitely up there as probably one of the best. I don't know if I want to say he is just because he's injury prone, like
I'm saying this season, just so far,
just
like just
this
this season,
specific season.
so
Yeah, I
far.
mean,
If you're looking at everybody,
yeah, he's been consistent. You could put Jude up there as well. He's been
yep,
consistent. He's kind of tapered off recently, but I mean, if you look at his numbers throughout the entire season,
he got 20 goals
there's,
as a midfielder.
yeah.
yeah,
What?
early,
Yeah,
early. So yeah, I would say that Madrid team has contenders for two of the top players, or for top player of the season so far. They got two of the guys, and they're both young, man. They're both scary.
mm,
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say Jude right now. If I'm being completely honest. I mean, I can't take away what he did in the beginning of the season. Um, you know, like you said, midfielder scoring 20 goals.
yeah, he's
I
a real
mean,
deal.
and we're a little bit past halfway through the season, but like, let's be real. We're talking about a midfielder who
Yeah,
who happened to. They said we're just gonna put you in the striker role because we have no one else right now, and the man still produced 20
He
goals.
said,
Like,
"I bet."
yeah, like it's almost a goal a match at this point. So
yeah,
you know, yeah, I think I would say Jude, but Salam, to your point, there's not many players. I mean, over the past, you can say 20 years, you can probably count on your hands, probably over the past 20 years when a player touches the ball and you just automatically get a feeling and you automatically
yeah,
just your eyes are glued and you don't want to look away because you're like, he could score a banger, he could just do somebody up, make somebody fall, he can
yeah,
have a crazy assist. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. That's how electric of a player he is. And I think like Mbappe's in that category. I think
for sure.
Finney's in that category, Ronaldinho's in that category, Ronaldo's in that category, Messi's in that category. You know what I mean? I think that's the type of category like of player when he's on the ball. It's you
Yeah,
just don't want to look
it's
away.
incredible.
It's just it honestly is incredible. I can't even lie. Yeah, it's actually
He's
like wild to watch, like in real time because as soon as he picks up the ball, he just moves with so much pace and so much
yeah.
um tenacity. It's just like,
And then you think of his teammates too. Like they're all young too. Like all these
yeah,
guys
Yeah,
in 4 years, these guys are going to be like well
he,
conditioned. Chouamini, Camavinga. If Mbappe comes, I mean, hey, there's that.
if
Rodrigo.
Holland comes,
Yeah. So,
they still got Rodrigo, Valverde,
yeah,
Mendy, bro. They have
yeah,
a squad.
they're
yeah.
not gonna know who to start, bro.
Militao, all these guys are going to grow together. They're just going to
Yeah,
grow and
I've
then,
even I've even been seeing that Arda Gular,
Mhm. Yeah,
they're thinking about sending him on loan. I just saw that today.
yeah.
They're thinking about sending him on loan.
So
He's
we'll holler at
18.
you,
Like,
and yeah, when
yeah,
you're
it's
20.
like you're 18, fam. We would talk to you in 2 years,
Yeah,
fam.
like come
Like,
back in a few.
yeah, man. It's
I
this
hope he
team
doesn't
is
get the Odegaard treatment, but
I was
because I
just about
think
to say
he's
that.
good. I
that's
think
a
he's
great
good.
point.
That's the thing though with Madrid. Like, I would love for it because based on what I've seen this kid do, he could be special. But it's like
Yeah,
they already have these young guys who are 18, 19, 20 right now, and you're
Balling.
seeing them build this core in that midfield, that front three, front four, front five. So I just hope that he's able to find his way into the first team, but it could be tough for him, real talk.
Yeah,
mhm.
it's one of those squads where, like, listen, man, if you're not performing at the level that we need to perform you at, trust me, we have guys. So
Yeah.
we will gladly send you on loan. Like, we have money, we have guys. Like, you don't want to leave Madrid either because they have the best
Facts.
facilities and everything. So it's like you're gonna accept the loan until
Yeah,
you're fed up enough with it to the point where you get to an Odegaard situation. And it's like, all right, I'm going to leave. Or even they did that thing to Ceballos. Ceballos wanted to play there. He wasn't up to par. Sent the guy on loan. And he came back and he started to get some minutes. But it's not easy, man. You gotta, if you're not performing at the level that they need you at, they need you to perform at, they'll definitely send you somewhere else to go get that time and game time. So I hope he doesn't get that treatment, man. I think he'll be a great player. But yeah, he could fall through the cracks. I mean, it's sometimes, but it's like it is, sometimes players do need to branch out and leave certain clubs to, kind of show their skill and what they have. And I think, Odegaard needs to leave Madrid to showcase, what he can do on the pitch. Like, I think James Harden needed to leave OKC to, show who James Harden is as a basketball player. So it's like, sometimes, it always doesn't work out, but I hope he does work out, man. He's a great player. And even the couple minutes that he played for Madrid, he looked good. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Those Madrid boys gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
The Madrid boys are going to be crazy. But Champions League, looking forward to the games tomorrow. We have two more matches coming up: PSG versus Real Sociedad, and then we have Bayern Munich versus Lazio. Any predictions for those? PSG is at home versus Sociedad.
I think PSG will get a win. I think Mbappe gets a brace. I feel like they kind of need
They need a big game, I feel
they
like.
need a big game. You know what I'm saying? I think they need a statement game with all these guys that they've assembled, and I wouldn't quite say that they had a quite convincing group stage. So I think to start off the round of 16, with a good performance is vital for them if they want to win the Champions League this season. Interesting team. I feel like from all their previous teams, I actually think this is probably their best team, but in terms of like fit and just balance, but maybe not on paper. The other game for me, Lazio versus Bayern, I think Lazio gets a point off them, or at least a result, a win
I'm
or
not
draw.
gonna lie, that's a shout, fam. Because I'm looking at this matchup like, fam. If you've been watching Lazio over the past couple years, been watching Bayern, bro, this might be a 4 or 5 match. Like, no lie, like it's gonna be back and forth, and I'm actually really looking forward to Lazio Bayern Munich tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie, like I don't think I'm gonna watch PSG. I think I'm gonna be watching Lazio Bayern. I think it's a tricky matchup for Bayern. They can get caught slipping because this team does score goals. They score a lot of goals, and I mean, both teams scored a lot of goals, so I think it could be a tricky matchup for Bayern. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for that matchup.
I agree. Lazio's also at home, which is big for them in the first leg, having that confidence to hopefully just get out big and score early. But yeah, I agree. I'm gonna be tapped in. I'm working from home tomorrow, so definitely gonna be tapped into that Lazio match, and then I'll be keeping tabs on what's going on with the other one, the PSG versus Sociedad. But time to get to our squads. Let's jump over to the Prem real quick. As I was saying before, all of our teams won. It's more fun when that happens. So we don't really have to, you know, come here with saddened hearts and droopy eyes. But we can start from the top. I kind of just want to talk about the Saturday games because neither of our teams played on Saturday, but kind of just talk about the Saturday games all in one clump. All the teams that needed to win won. City won 2-0 versus Everton. Liverpool won 3-1 versus Burnley. Spurs was able to win 2-1 versus Brighton. All right, Trinity got Lazio 3-2. That's a shot. That's a shot. I like it though. I like it. But yeah, so like I was saying, all the teams that needed to win on Saturday won. So I was gonna ask Gabriel this a little bit later, but as one of the teams that's currently in the top 4, in this title race, when you see them play on Saturday, is that easier for you? Do you think it's easier for Arsenal? I didn't even really want to start with y'all, but when you see, all right,
So,
Spurs won, City won, Liverpool won. All right, cool. We gotta keep track. Do you think it's easier to see them play on Saturday, or would you rather them play the same day as you, or would you rather play earlier in the week?
um, me personally, just off the personnel and kind of what I've seen over the past couple seasons, I would rather play first. I'd rather us, but we're a young team. And these guys have social media. These guys look at everything. They know what's going on. Like they, as much as they don't want to admit it. Listen, every one of these players are in their DMs. All of that. Like they know what's going on. And I think last year we got in trouble a little bit with that. Like City would play before us, get a result, and then we'd play maybe not get a result, and then that's the talk of the town, and it's this and it's that, and it's woo woo. And me personally, just based off last year, I'd rather play first. I'd rather have no one kind of no intrusive thoughts of, oh, now we have to go perform, and players overthinking on the pitch and this and the third. Like, nah. I would rather play first, but at the same time, this year our team is a lot different. I think you know, we're in a very different headspace, and I think that as a team, we're a lot mentally stronger this year as well. So I say that kind of with a grain of salt, but just me personally, I would much rather play, before the other teams play, and yeah, and it works to an advantage sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I think it's a lot easier when let's say all those teams lose. Now it's like, oh, now everyone's up for the game. Well, we have to capitalize on these teams dropping points instead of third. And then, if all the teams win, now the pressure's on. You got to go perform. So, it kind of varies on, if everyone wins or how the results kind of line up. But me personally, I have my preference. I'd rather play first.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. Out of the three teams here, you played first. You played first on Sunday. Then it was United. Then it was Chelsea. So it's kind of funny how that shook up this week. But you guys came in with a big, massive win, and the biggest takeaway for me about this win was something I didn't realize. I was kind of reading some articles today before we hopped on, and I didn't realize that or I guess I forgot. It's not that I didn't realize. I forgot that you played West Ham to close out the season last year, and Saka missed a PK. And for him to hit that PK there, for that to be the second goal, I feel like that was one of those. Yeah, like, bro, I'm getting this is a little
Back in
bit.
blood.
This is a little bit of carryover from last year, bro. Like, nah, like this is for me. Like, this one is for me. I don't care about none of y'all. Like, I drew this pen. This one is for me. I'm taking this, and then we move. And from then on, it was just a bloodbath. 6 goals. This now puts you at 31, I believe, for goal differential, plus 31 on the year for goal differential, which I also believe is, tied with City or tied with Liverpool. There's now only one goal between the top three teams as far as goal differential. There's only 2 points between the top three teams. So it's a race. What I'm saying? Last year, before we hopped on, we were talking with Yasser a little bit. And he was saying, last year at this time of the year, he didn't think that Arsenal, or his words were, he didn't think that Arsenal was raced, but he said he didn't feel as confident in the title race as he does now. And it's funny because last year you guys were in first place, leading the pack, and now you're, not necessarily behind by a wide margin, but you're definitely not leading the pack. So I kind of wanted to ask you, how do you feel, with that massive win, right off that massive win, pause, how how do you feel going into the final stretch, of the season? Not necessarily the final stretch, but it's around the corner. It's around the bend.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah. Before I actually get into that, I have one thing I need to like just do real quick. They're talking about plants and they got me mine. Oh, I feel like they got eyes. Feel like they got eyes. Gotta. Every time he scores, I'm playing that song. I just want people to know.
Banger
But
too. I will say
yeah,
banger.
I had to. But yeah, no. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I feel the same way. I completely agree. Like I said earlier, this team is in a completely different headspace than last year. Our team is much, much better than last year. Our personnel is better. Um, I do feel better, even though we're not points wise, we're not as high as we were last year. I kind of like that we have this we need to get back mentality right now. We need to get back. We need to get back. We need to get back to second. We need to get back to first. Like we last year at this time we were on top. Now it's all this pressure of maintain, maintain, maintain. When we've never been in a position like that in Lord knows how many years. When's the last time Arsenal was in a maintain the first place spot? For months. When was the last time we were going to maintain like this? So we've always been, not always, but in recent years, we've been a team that's been having to fight. And I do like the fact that right now it's close, but yeah, we have to fight. And this match, I said this last pod. I said, I really want to, the 3-1 win against Liverpool was mad love. I love the win. It was great. But how do we react when we go to West Ham away? What's going to happen there? Because it's last year we didn't have good results. We've had bad results against West Ham the past couple of years. And to go in there and, West Ham played well the first 15. Honestly, they played pretty well the first 15. But to go in there and after the first goal, the goals just started rolling in. And, I couldn't really ask for much more. So yeah, man. I mean, like just to answer your question, I feel a lot better with the personnel in the where we're at right now than I did last year. I think this game showed us a lot. This is I have a couple of like specific things I want to say, but I think first and foremost, our set pieces are. I really can't even speak too much. I can't even speak highly enough about it. Our set piece coach, I can't even think of his name right now, but big shout out to him. We brought him in last year, and this year we have the most set piece goals in the league. I think almost 20 plus set piece goals this year, which is amazing. 3 set piece goals in the win on Sunday as well. So. What we're doing on set pieces is obviously working right now.
I mean, that honestly started off your you guys goal scoring.
Yeah,
you guys. I wouldn't say we're struggling because by all means, you guys weren't struggling. I believe West Ham was playing well, but you guys were definitely dominating the match. But we're struggling to kind of find that final pass to get the goal, and as soon as you started getting set pieces, corners, free kicks here in the attacking third, that started to set it off for sure.
Yeah. It is, and I think at first I was kind of questioning, Declan Rice being on set pieces because he is a big guy. You want that guy in the box, but the quality on the service is just
good techers.
The quality on the service is so impeccable. We don't even need him, and it makes sense. We have Kai Havertz, so we have another tall guy who can go fill in that role, and fill in that spot. So,
Gabriel Saliba.
Yeah, Gabriel Saliba, Kai Havertz. We have guys in there to go fight for a ball, and Gabriel, he's I think he's 6 goals behind Koscielny for most goals most goals for Arsenal center back. I think Koscielny's at 22 or 20, and Gabriel's at 14 already. He has some of the most set piece goals in the league since he's entered. We're doing well on set pieces, which is great. So that's one great thing I just wanted to highlight. Secondly, man, I know he doesn't get all the credit and a lot of the accolades. He didn't score or anything like that. But Kai Havertz is looking better every match. I just want you guys to know this. Kai Havertz is looking better every single match. And I want to specify this specific match was the first time I have seen Kai Havertz have a pep in his step in over 3 years. I swear to you, this guy. This is the first time I actually seen. No, I'm so serious.
This is the best Kai Havertz, you're saying?
I'm not saying this is the best Kai Havertz, but I'm saying this is the first time I've seen Kai Havertz have a pep in his step. Every time I've seen Kai Havertz over the past 3 years has been lethargic. It doesn't look like, he's hitting full sprints. It doesn't look like he's attacking the space. It doesn't look like he's
like
looking
off the
to play the
gas.
ball forward. Yeah, like it looks lethargic. It doesn't. It just looks slow. This is the first time I've ever I see Kai Havertz heads up, playing the ball forward. He defends, but the sprints it looked like he was hitting full sprints. It just looked different. Honestly, it's just the Kai Havertz that I've been wanting to see, that we've been waiting to see. And I know he's not on the stat sheet or anything like that, but what he's been providing for us this season, and how he's been, growing into his role has been great. So shout out to him. And then last shout out for me, shout out Bukayo Saka, man. Got his 100 GA at West Ham this past weekend. 22 years old, already at 100 GA. I think he's at 12 or 11 goals this year already. I think like around 10 assists as well.
That's 51 goals, 49 assists,
yeah,
all
51 goals, yeah, 49 assists, all comps. Can't speak highly enough about him. Great match. I mean, we won 6-0. There's not really too much bad you can say. He kept the clean sheet as well, which is amazing because we needed that. And this is the Arsenal that I want to see. When teams aren't up for it that day, we need to go and murder that. We need to go and murder them. Like, we need to go and completely dismantle that team and put as many goals in the back of the net. And now that we put 6 in the back of the net, we put 5 in the back of the net in Palace earlier this year. Our goal differential is now even with City and 1 from Liverpool. And Cornelius talks about this time and time again, how important goal differential is, especially in a title race, especially with teams like City and Liverpool, teams that score in abundance. We need to get our goal. We needed to get our goal differential up, and I'm just happy that we were able to do that. So, shout out the guys. I love the lineup. Kudus was silent. Shout out Kivior. Kudus didn't do a thing. Great team performance, and honestly, just looking to continue the form until the next big match. We have Lazio in Champions League next week, but we have Burnley this weekend, and it's at Burnley, but it's another match where tough place to go play. Just go in there, handle business, and hopefully it's a warm up game for.
It ain't tough to go play at Burnley.
Hey man,
they have been
what
terrible
people say.
this season.
They have been. But historically, it is a tough place to go play. So
Man,
listen. I'm just looking forward to my team getting 3 points, getting out of there, and going to handle business in Champions League. That's it. So
before we switch gears, before we switch teams over, I did have a question because Arsenal has been, fortunate to have had, a pretty easy fare of games as far as having to only play once a week. I mean, you're out of the Carabao pretty early. Champions League has had a pretty long hiatus. You guys are just coming off, the whole entire Premier League got it, but 2 weeks ago you just were coming off your mini vacation. So you guys have been well rested. Now that you see games starting to ramp up again, do you see an issue with Arteta, rotating players? Do you see that becoming, like a possible issue? It could be a yes, it could be a no. I'm just saying, you guys are starting to play games again.
If I'm being honest, no. I think Arteta's decisions have become a little bit easier because I think we know what our best 11 is. And I think he knows exactly now how to fill those gaps and kind of adjust when we're playing teams or certain teams. And like he did this weekend. I love that he started Kivior against Kudus. We didn't hear a peep from Kudus this weekend. We put a lockdown defender on him. You didn't hear a peep. So we're getting players back currently. We're getting Tomiyasu back from the Asian Cup. We're getting Partey back from injury. Timber is set to come back soon. He's probably about a month out now. So no, I really don't think so. And at this point in the season, I think we know exactly where our gaps are. I think we know that we have a big gap in the left back position, and I think we have a big gap striker wise. And there's not too much we can do striker wise, but I think left back wise has a big implications on how our season's going to go, and I think we adjust with that well. And when the midfield rotation comes back, I don't think it'll be. I don't really think it'll be that tough for him. Declan Rice and Odegaard will be there, and it's really just about who he's going to put in, who the third guy is going to be. And Partey's coming off injury. There's no need to rush him back. We have Jorginho and Kai Havertz and Trossard who can play in that position. So we don't have to rush guys back. We don't need to rush guys back. This team is right now flowing very, very well. We don't have to rush Gabriel Jesus back. This team is flowing very, very well right now. And no, I don't think his decisions will get harder. I think, as guys come in, I think honestly it'll get a little bit easier because now, he'll be able to rest some guys, and some guys won't be able to or won't have to be on heavy minutes. And to end with young Trini's question of, do I think Arsenal can win the league? Absolutely. Just like I thought last season we could have won the league. I think this season we can win the league. I think we're in a much better position now than we were last year. I think if, like last year, if one of our center backs goes down, I think we have coverage, proper coverage this time. Not just coverage, proper coverage this time. Even if we have to pull Declan Rice into a center back role, I still feel comfortable with our midfield and Partey, Jorginho, and Odegaard, or adding Kai Havertz in there somewhere. So, no, I really feel fine right now. I feel good. I think yes, the league is definitely attainable.
I feel great. I feel great. And, I feel great.
And we'll see, man.
Yeah.
It's a tight table, but we still see City. We are job for Liverpool, so it's up to the rest of the league at this point. We still see City again, and we'll see. I don't know why this man's talking from seventh with 0 goal differential. What?
No, hold on.
Anyway.
Yeah,
everybody wants. Ain't no smoke with anybody. Everybody wants this week.
Yeah, everybody wants no smoke. Save the smoke. Save the smoke. We'll save it for next week because we know it's a few matchups coming up that's going to be
someone will lose. Someone
will lose. Looking in the mirror here, but moving on to the next game on Sunday, United, who's had a turn. They turned a new leaf these last few weeks. 4 wins out of their last 5 here. 3 wins out of their last 4 in the Premier League. Their one non-win was a draw against Tottenham. So for them, it's looking good. They have scored 2 goals, at least 2 goals in each of their last 5 matches. So it's not an issue scoring. Onana is actually looking a little bit better in net as well. They're starting to mesh a little bit more. Big win this weekend. It's a massive win this weekend, I would say. This is probably one of the bigger wins that you guys have had all season. I believe you guys actually shut down Leon Bailey for the most part. He was able to score, but for the most part, shut him down. He was not able to do what he usually does. And I don't know, Scott McTominay, he's one of those guys that I've always wanted to just be on United because I feel like he's United through and through. I know you don't see him as that guy, but coming off the bench and getting the goal was kind of just perfect for him. I feel like I in the group chat, I said that Ole role, it's probably a little bit more glorified or less glorified than that, but your team is actually starting to look good. You're starting to get players back, besides Martinez, who just got injured again. This is, your strongest 11,
And Luke Shaw.
Yeah, and Luke Shaw as well, But you're starting to see your strongest 11. You guys are also getting players back. Rasmus Holland he's scoring. He's doing what you guys bought him to do. And he's actually looking like the striker that you guys paid the money for. How has he impressed you over these last few weeks?
Well, he has, especially considering that, he doesn't really get that many chances in these games. Even the game that he scored, the last game, I think he only had 1 or 2 chances. So the fact that he was still able to get a goal shows that he's able to score even with the lack of service. If we were a team that provided more goals for the striker, I think he would score more. But you know, I'm pleasantly surprised by him. He's a project. It's a work in progress. He's not the finished product by any means, but um, I think he has a lot of good um, qualities and characteristics that will um, enable him to be successful in the Premier League. So the more he plays, I think the more he'll get comfortable. Good to see that he's getting goals now. I mean, since the start of the year, he's really kicked on. So good for him. Good for us. Not just him. I just feel like there's a few players that I would like to shout out. First place I have to go is in goal. Onana has been playing well.
Yeah,
He's
no
he's been
lie.
making some clutch saves. So
That's
I got to give
facts.
him his credit when he's playing well. He hasn't really been called on to do too much, but the two times he is called upon, he is making those saves, and um, so you got to give him credit considering the start of the season and how that went for him. So shout out Onana. In front of him, shout out Harry Maguire. I've been very critical of Harry Maguire over the past almost 4 years on this podcast. So
Since he got signed.
yeah, since he got signed, essentially. So yeah, I mean, uh, to be honest with you, I think he's a completely different player ever since that the captain's armband was removed from him. Um, I think that that's a lot of pressure to put on him. Ever since he's been in the club, like he came in and was given that responsibility, and I felt like never was able to really, you know, settle in the way he should have. But I got to give him credit. I'm not saying that he's, world class by any means, but for him to come off the bench and put in the shift that he's doing is good. He had one big mistake, that could have led to a goal, but we were able to take care of that. But all in all, I got to give him credit, especially considering that he got the assist on the goal. So for Rasmus, so shout out Maguire. Who else? I mean, Kobe Mainu. To be very honest with you, I thought Kobe Mainu had a I think that like that game versus Villa was like that was his like learning moment. Because I think Ramsey and Douglas Luiz really, you know, they they gave it to him. Pause.
Welcome to the Prem.
So yeah. So I mean, like I think, but even that, I think the first half he struggled in the first half. Second half was a little bit better. He had his good moments. I think what really helped him was Casemiro's performance. I mean, this is 2 games in a row now where second half Casemiro on a yellow card, completely flawless. So I got to give him credit. I always said when he comes back, we're going to be a different team, and he's showing that. So shout out to him, and yeah, man. Hopefully, we've obviously established a youth core between, especially in attack, with Garnacho, with Hoyland, with Mainu. I think we have experienced players like Casemiro there. Delo has been playing well too. Um,
Facts.
if he could only defend, I would. He'd be knocking on the door of world class, but he can't defend. But he can attack. Um, that cross came from nowhere, so yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to the team. Shout out Ten Hag. I feel like being able to manage all the nonsense, the Ten Hag outers, all that, um, with the start of the season. So shout out to him. And yeah, I mean, in the last 3 games, we collected 9 points. If you were to ask me that 2.5 weeks ago, I would have told you you're crazy. So very very good. Almost 2 weeks for us. So hopefully we can continue this. And Luke Shaw is now out for an extended period of time with Lissandro. We just got to stay healthy, man. If we can stay healthy, I think we can really make a push for top 4.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Top four. Um. I mean, we'll circle back. I mean, I'll circle back to that question I asked Gabriel. Is it being in the position that you are now? Gabriel's actually in that top four position, defending it. You're chasing that top four position.
Yeah.
Do you like seeing when teams that are ahead of you on the table play first, or would you rather be in control of that your own destiny would kind of play first and then not worry about those teams and what they're doing as much.
Um, I feel like at this level, like that shouldn't matter. But I guess like with this group of
Does though.
players,
Like,
just
it does. It shouldn't, but it does.
no, yeah, I'm just saying like it shouldn't, but here we are. Like we have to, even discuss this. But I mean, to answer your question, I think I would rather play first, just because. I mean, for us, it's pretty straightforward. Like Ten Hag said this a few games ago. Every game is a final for us. So like we have to win every game from here on out. We're not in Europe. Um, we're not in what is it, Carabao. So like we have literally top four and the FA Cup, which I mean, if you're looking at like the season now, objectively speaking, I think top four and the FA Cup trophy would be a good season for us.
I agree. I think if you win this trophy, successful. Just
Hmm.
like Kanoya said, if he wins a trophy, successful season. I completely agree with you, Salam. If you win a trophy this year, successful season. But top four is, like Young Trini said, that's a stretch. That's a proper stretch. Like a
No, it is,
proper.
but I'm looking at the team like Villa, like that's a team where credit to them. I think that they've had a solid start of the season, but you're not going to finish in the top four. We have a clip of me starting off saying, "Don't worry, Aston Villa will not make top four," and I firmly stand by that. This is the team that we beat them. Like, I mean, so that yeah, I'm not really worried about them
We beat
or
them.
or West Ham. You know what I'm saying? Like these teams that you know um, that are top half of the table. Like for us to get 3 points from them, I think says I think we have a chance. I think like we're well into the mix. So we just gotta stay healthy.
In the mix. Into the thick of it.
Hmm.
How about you
I
guys?
mean,
What
no,
was it?
that's a good point. Especially when you talk about specifically Villa. I'll turn to Chelsea and just keep it short and sweet. We just beat Villa. And, especially a team like Chelsea who's been having its issues
Yeah.
the entire year. We've been very, very up and down. Just came from a terrible slump where we lost against two teams that, the Liverpool match was going to be the Liverpool match. But again, that Wolves match could have gone either way. And I believe we just weren't up for it, especially when this week I see that Wolves lost to Brentford 2-0 at home at the Molineux. It's just one of those games where I look at our season like that's not a match where we should have dropped 4-2 to Wolves. But a team like Villa is starting to taper off. They were undefeated at home the whole first half of the year, and now three home defeats, in like six matches. So it's one of those teams where they are starting to taper off. Like Salam said, they just don't have the bodies. They don't have the talent to take it through the full 38 games. It's been fun to see. Honestly, I still believe that they can finish top four, but I'm starting to see them slump a little bit. So as far as Chelsea's sake, it was good to see us beat Villa. It was good to see us score away because going into that match, I had not a lot of confidence at all. Especially because we had the first leg at home and we blew it. It was 0-0 draw, and I believe we had the chances to equal or to go ahead early and late in the match. And giving up that advantage to go to Villa, I was not gonna lie, for a top four team, I was I wasn't expecting to go forward, but kudos to the boys. They got through that match, and then coming to the weekend, um, we played on Monday, and I didn't think that with Chelsea, it's so up and down. Matches that you think you can win or we should win, I can't go in very confident. Matches that I think okay, we like Wolves, we'll get points off Wolves. We lose 4-2. So Palace is one of those teams where historically we beat them. Even earlier this year we struggled with them the entire first half and were able to sneak out a 2-0, 2-1 win. this was sort of the same sort of match. You know, the entire match they were neck and neck with us, and then we managed to somehow get a goal very, very late in the match, and then get the third and equal in injury time. Chelsea is one of those teams where I, I don't know what's going to happen week to week. So being able to string together 2 wins this week doesn't give me any faith for seeing City over the weekend. You know, back in the day when Chelsea was in a slump, I used to have the confidence that getting these quick wins, a FA Cup win, a win against, a team away from home in London, winning another London derby. Oh, okay, this will get us up for City. This could actually help our team get enough morale to go into the City match and maybe get a result. I don't have that confidence now, just to go into predictions. We see City this weekend. City they're in win now mode. Every win is every match is a must win for them. And so for me, looking at our recent history and what we've done with these top 4 teams, the first match was 4-4. Played it out of our minds. It's a fantastic match. I said, match of the season at that point of the year. Seeing how we played against Liverpool, again, I just don't want to embarrass ourselves against City at the Etihad. Saturday at 12:30. So, it will be that late game for them out over there on Saturday. Kevin's back. Haaland's back. Foden's scoring again. This will be the first time that young Cole Palmer is back at the Etihad.
Wow, yeah, it's crazy.
So
Actually,
it's a lot going on with this match, but it was 4-4 at home at the Bridge. I'll say, like Mike, if we're able to keep the goals low, we might be able to escape with a draw. But if there are goals afoot, you know what I'm saying? It's not looking too bright for us. I hope we could just get out there without getting embarrassed, to be honest. I don't have a lot of faith in us getting a win, but I believe this team could escape with a draw. We've dug out draws against very, very tough teams this year specifically. So I don't know.
Stop the cap.
I'll say 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw.
What? There's no way City scoring 1 goal at home.
There's no way.
Out of here, dude.
1-1 draw.
That. You might as well be better off going 2-2, gang. Like
1-1 draw is where I think we'll be at.
I'll go next. We play Luton away from home at their stadium.
Trap.
Not at all. As a matter of fact,
I need the Max win.
this is my lock of the week. This is my lock of the week. Man United by at least 2 goals. We're gonna exercise with Luton for sure.
Proper stretch, huh?
We are gonna exercise properly. Dynamic warm-ups.
That's crazy. Arsenal, Burnley at Turf Moor this weekend. I honestly, I would make it my lock of the week, but I won't. I will. Well, I'll give a score prediction before I get into my lock of the week. Yeah, this would be like a 3-0, maybe 4-0 type of affair. We should go in there and handle business just like we handled business at West Ham. And I kind of like when we have like a couple away games. We kind of string some home away games, like string some away wins, and then go back home. I like that when we can do that. So I think we'll win like 3-4-0. But for my lock of the week, I'm going. What do I say with? I'm going with what I said earlier. Over for the Bayern Munich Lazio game. Over 2.5 goals. Please just lock it in. There's gonna be a goal in the first 15. Just lock it in. Just lock it in. I'm telling you, just lock it in.
Oh man. All right.
Lock it in. Any shout outs?
Ooh, shout outs. I would say um Rasmus Hoyland and Sebastian Haller, two strikers.
Yeah, definitely Haller. For me, gotta shout out Saka for the 100 GA contributions. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's a full compilation video of all of his GA. If you want to go watch it, it's quite a watch.
It's amazing.
But yeah, those are my two shout outs this week.
Also, we'll say Halle for my shout out, and then giving this guy a lot of I wouldn't say hate, but I never thought this guy was good enough to be a starter for our team. But Conor Gallagher, braced this past
Hey.
weekend against his
Hey,
former against a team that we loaned him to, that potentially people were saying should have bought him in the end. But at the end of the day, Conor Gallagher is an academy youth. He is a Chelsea Blue. He honestly lives and dies for the badge. And although I don't think he sometimes plays up to the Chelsea standard, he always plays for the badge. And so got to give him a shout out this week.
Yeah, no lie. He had a great match, man. No lie. He's been probably your most consistent player outside of Cole Palmer.
That's a fact.
I would agree.
Probably your most
I would
consistent. And scoring, too. When's Kyle Gallagher been a goal scorer?
These were his first two goals. These were his first 2 goals all year.
Bro, the way – no, that's not his first 2 goals all year.
These were his first 2 goals all
year.
In
the Prem? Maybe in the Prem. Okay, in the Prem. But I'm just saying, other matches, the way Conor Gallagher has bailed you guys out has been actually crazy.
He's been playing well.
Yeah,
he's been playing decent. He doesn't have a lot of goals, so I'm trying to tell you right now. He has 2 goals, 4 assists in the Prem.
He's your Mctominay. So it is.
Yeah, but
he has like a few in Carabao FA.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I know like the stat sheet doesn't always say it, but who Conor Gallagher has been for Chelsea Football Club this season, if you guys did not have Conor Gallagher, this would be a completely different. Like if you try to replace Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher right now, like not right now, but just in general, if that was the case, I don't think we would be having the same conversations. So I just want to be
I agree. And I agree because, like I said, Conor Gallagher is willing to do the dirty work. And I didn't really want to end on this note, but I've talked about it so much. He is required to do so much of a role in our midfield because I believe Caicedo is not good enough to hold up the midfield with him and Enzo. And I believe Conor Gallagher, if he didn't have to have so much responsibility in there and we just had him be, our, for lack of a better term, our Conte type player, where we just gave him the freedom to roam, get the ball and advance and give it to our next best midfielder, we would see Conor Gallagher in a whole new light. He wouldn't have to do what he does for us, but he has to do so much more, I think, because of the deficiencies of Caicedo. I think the deficiencies he has aren't very glaring when you look at him play day to day, but what he does in the midfield does not help our team, or at least the way that I believe we want to play. But yeah, but shout out CG, man. He's been hooping.
Facts.
Sounds good. Well, good stuff, guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And as always, good luck